Hey Capricorn, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your March 2023 monthly horoscope. But before I start, I'm just going to do a quick bit of business. These videos are based on whole sign Western astrology. So I'm talking about Capricorn rising. When I talk about the house structure, it is based on Capricorn rising. This video is also applicable to Capricorn sun and Capricorn moon, but the house structure will not be the same. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to any one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time of birth and your location in order to determine that information. Also, when I refer to a date and a time, it is Pacific time. Please adjust for your location. So March is, for me as an intuitive astrologer, I think the most pivotal month of the year. We're going to see Pluto move into Aquarius for just a short period of time, and that's going to feel very palatable, as well as Saturn is moving into Pisces this month. So, and Saturn's been in domicile for the last 4.5 to 5 years as it traversed through Capricorn and Aquarius. So as Saturn moves into Pisces, the energy is going to shift dramatically. Pisces is very compassionate, very emotional, very imaginative. Capricorn is very human in the sense of practical reality, and in some ways, not quite the same emotional makeup. So it's going to feel very different. I've also done a separate video for Capricorn. It'll address the houses that this will affect. So please check that out. All right. So the month starts, I'm going to start with March 3rd, but we're going to feel this towards the end of February and all the way through till the full moon on the 7th of March. So the first week or so of March, we're going to see Venus in an exact conjunction with Chiron, and Jupiter is just 1 degree away. So basically the three of them are having a very intense conversation about, how am I asserting myself in the world? How do I want to explore the world? What do I want to express? Who am I? And who am I in comparison to my family? Aries is your 4th house. It is the house that molded you as a child. It is where you first discovered how you were perceived by other people and where you fit into the pack. So here, you know, Capricorn is it's a builder, ruled by Saturn naturally. So when Saturn moves into Pisces, this is absolutely going to affect you and feel, I mean, you may literally feel like there's been a cloud put over your head, but it's only temporary, because initially Saturn is going to want to slow things down so that you can observe things. And part of that observation starts with this conversation with Venus, Chiron, and Jupiter. Venus representing my self-worth, representing my skills in the sense of my voice, my hands, how I work with my hands. Chiron representing the wound and the gift. One coin, two sides. The wound, while it initially is a propellant, it propels us to seek answers. It also, once there's a certain amount of reconciliation, it becomes a gift that propels us into the reward phase of our life, which is what Jupiter is trying to talk about with these two other points, offering expansion, offering good luck. But part of it is to remove the crutch. Meaning, if there's anything that you've held yourself back, I can't because I'm obligated out here. I can't because, and then you fill in the verbiage. This is what this conversation is about, because we're wanting to move that story along. And that's further evidenced as Mercury enters Pisces on the 3rd of March, having had and continuing to have at this point a conjunction with Saturn at the very last degree of Aquarius. It's the anaretic degree, the 29th degree. 29 reduces down to an 11. An 11 is the master number of thought. Mercury rules thought, speech, what we teach others through what we say, how we absorb the media. So all of this conversation feels like it's teeing up for the full moon in Virgo and for for Saturn's sojourn through Pisces until February 2026. So your ruling planet is moving into an opportunity to master itself, to master the hidden corners, to what lies beneath the surface. And I even want to say beneath of the surface. It's kind of like if you were laying flooring. We're getting down to the subflooring here to see if the structure is strong in order to build anew. So I think this is very important. And this is not a period of time for judgment or shame. This is not a period of time for blame. It's just pieces of information that give you an opportunity to shift your focus or to move in a new direction. Because here, Capricorn is being asked to look at your fourth house, Aries, and how can you express yourself individualistically through what is important to you, and to sort of rewrite the definitions that people have assigned to you. So if for some reason you've been assigned the dutiful child, the dutiful spouse, the dutiful parent, if you're not being of some sort of enjoyment, pleasure to yourself, all of that energy has a very heavy dynamic to it, because in no short order, the full moon is going to affect your fifth house of pleasure. So let's jump there. On the 7th, we have Saturn entering Pisces. During the year 2023, which is a 7-year, Saturn will move 0 to 7 degrees in Pisces, essentially covering the degrees that are in the lower hemisphere of the zodiac wheel, which is very personal in how I discover myself in this human experience. I have done a separate video on this for you, so please check that out. It's very detailed. We also are going to have a full moon that will happen on March 7th at 4:40 a.m. I will do a separate video on that as well, but for now, what I want to bring up is that this full moon is at 16 degrees Virgo, the 6th of 7 full moons at the 16th degree. This is the Cancerian degree, which rules nurturing. It rules an intuitive energy. And so here, while your fourth house is naturally Aries, there is an imprint of the Cancer energy on the fourth house. So this full moon is going to illuminate where you have inadvertently enslaved yourself to some kind of duty, or there could potentially be an opportunity for you to look at how you're treating your body and what you're ingesting, how you're handling your stress, because the sun, in a full moon, the sun and the moon are in opposition. So the sun is in Pisces at 16 degrees, making a sextile to Uranus in your fifth house of Taurus. So there's an opportunity for this full moon to bring some sort of illumination and culmination of things where you may have inadvertently not allowed yourself your own personal expression, or allowed yourself to enjoy things. You might be one of those people who say, I need to get this done and I need to get this done before I can go do that. And every once in a while, especially right now, it might be good to just let your chores, let your obligations sort of sit on the side, go have some fun, go have some laughs, and come back at it with fresh eyes and a fresh sense of energy with it. Because I think this is really, really important, this full moon, allowing yourself the privilege of starting to master the Pisces energy, meaning, where do I escape? How do I express my creativity? Am I being held back by my ancestral experience? And when I say ancestral, I mean, people inadvertently and unconsciously pass down traits and beliefs from generation to generation without considering if those beliefs are working for me. Sometimes they just show up in a collective. So I think this is super important. On the 10th of March, Jupiter and Chiron continue the conversation. Venus has moved on. She's heading towards Taurus at this point, and Jupiter and Chiron are continuing to rewrite my beliefs about myself. And in this particular case, I think that Jupiter is rewriting the who am I, why am I here, and what is the point of my life. And here Chiron is starting to reevaluate in a way that I think we're extracting the gift. We're starting to see a wisdom through the pain that allows us a sight that we may not have had before. And this sight comes from the inside versus our eyeballs. On the 13th of March, Mars will be in its last few degrees of Gemini and starting to make a trine to Saturn in Pisces. So here we see Mars going through your 6th house of work and duty and obligation and health, having a positive aspect. And as we get towards the end of the month, on the 25th, Mars will move into Cancer. And by the 29th of the month, we have an exact trine between Mars and Saturn. I believe Mars and Saturn are actually quite cooperative together. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which means it's in its best energy in Capricorn. And I kind of think of it as, Saturn, the mentor, and Mars, the young knight, the young hero that wants to get out there and just rush ahead. So there's a sense of a mastering of things here. And this is what I think this trine is supporting. First, as Mars is in Gemini, figuring out those last, how do I show up with my teammates? How are my thoughts inadvertently coming across in maybe a way that isn't serving me? Maybe it's coming across as abrasive. So as I go into the Cancer energy, while Mars is not always excited to be in this emotional water sign, as Saturn is not always so comfortable in the emotional sign of Pisces, together they're coming into a place of understanding that the human has a certain structure. And as I engage that human structure rather than rub up against it or judge it, I engage people to work with me versus resisting my ideas. So I feel like this is part of this mastery that's coming up, of an awareness of my imprint, my pattern, and then making conscious choices as a result of that awareness. On the 16th of March, Venus will move into her rulership, the 5th house for you, Taurus. And by the 30th, she will make an exact conjunction to Uranus. To me, this is capitalizing on this energy that we're feeling between Mars and Saturn as we're getting real about my history and about where I've been and where I want to go. And Mars is willing to be brave in new territory. So Venus in your 5th house, this feels like almost a little bit easier energy for Capricorn to adapt to enjoying having some pleasures. You may want to start a garden. Here we are we're starting spring very soon. I also think that there's a sense of liberation here. There's a sense of, Uranus coming up with Venus makes me feel as if Capricorn starts to give life to the idea that when you do something you enjoy, there's the potential of benefiting monetarily from it. And I don't know if this is something you're actually going to implement and take off, or you're just going to start putting the building blocks together to support that endeavor. By the 19th, we have Mercury entering Aries. And by the 27th, Mercury and Jupiter will both be conjunct at 18 degrees Aries. This is, again, a conversation that you will have with yourself about how you relate to and have evolved with the idea of how you think, how you speak, and also, I'm going to say, potentially your siblings, your cousins, the people within your family that are on your peer group. There's something about this that makes me feel as if here in Aries, there's an individuality from my pack, but not moving away from my pack, just allowing myself the permissions and the privilege to be myself and have my own thoughts. They don't necessarily have to agree or acquiesce to another. By the 20th of March, the sun has entered Aries, and on the 21st, we will have a new moon in Aries at the critical 0 degree on the world axis. This is probably, this is the springtime. It's the new year for the astrology zodiac wheel. And this particular new year feels stronger than many new years in the past because it's on the 0 degree. And this new moon is on the 0 degree as we've just moved into the Aries season. I also feel like because of all the full moons we've experienced through 2022 and early 2023, the culminations, the illuminations that we've had are now having me want to plant new seeds. And we also are experiencing, Saturn coming in at this 0 0 degree of Pisces, and then Pluto coming into the 0 degree of Aquarius, which is very, that's going to feel very powerful and just give us a glimpse of what will happen for the next 20 years when Pluto moves into Aquarius in 2024 and remains there until 2044. So I think this is a really important new moon, and I will be doing a separate video on that. Again, in your 4th house, we've got a lot of Capricorn 4th house activity where you're really reviewing how you have processed your family experience and how you've given yourself permission to individualize yourself, Aries energy, and be strong and brave, because sometimes others will inadvertently pigeonhole us and dumb down our talents. And when we allow ourselves to individualize, we're actually bringing more to the story, or to the table is the way I want to put it. When Pluto on the 23rd moves into Aquarius, this is going to be in your 2nd house. And I think this is really powerful because the 2nd house is naturally ruled by Taurus. It is a money house. It is also a house of my self-worth and my confidence as a result of how I have been raised. My family history. The 2nd house rules history. So I think this is really powerful because, again, I don't want to say that there's this is not about rebelling against the family story. It's an integration of the family story. It's taking that Piscean energy and Saturn's energy and mastering that humans are just humans and they do their best to be their best, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I think this is really going to be very powerful for you because I didn't mention it earlier, but Pisces is your 3rd house, which is the house of thought. It's also the house of siblings and the house of childhood experiences, but it's what we teach others through our actions and our speech. It's what we read and what we absorb within the media. So again, I'm feeling this whole kind of theme of Capricorn reinventing some of the more intimate relationships in your life with your siblings, with your family, with your potential, with your spouse. And as you're doing this, it feels as if there's a lightening of the energy. There's a more willingness to be adventurous, the Aries energy that we see here. And this Pisces energy feels like it brings about some sort of spiritual reconciliation, where whatever dark spots were are starting to make the color pop, and it feels good. So let me really round out this little bit about Pluto moving into Aquarius, because as Pluto moves into Aquarius in your 2nd house, this is an opportunity to, as I said earlier, I feel like we're starting to put the pieces together. I don't know that we're actually jumping out to take action and birth something. So this might be where you start to feel the viability of your own independence. You start to feel as if your talents and your gifts are palatable to others and profitable to you. And this is all as a result of this individuality that you've given yourself and standing in this leadership position of not only considering the group, but considering how your happiness and your personal satisfaction affects the group in a positive way. All right, that's it for me for this is for March 2023 for Capricorn. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below and I am available. Please join me Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's where we do a live stream and we look at the transits for the week ahead and get the angels' advice for traversing those transits. It's a fun group of people. So I hope you'll join me and come back soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And comment. I don't always get a chance to respond to the comments, but I always see them and I try to at least hit that little heart for y'all. So thank you, Capricorn. I'll see you next month, if not sooner. Peace out.